Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Desi Chale Canada. A major draw for many people who move to Canada is the country's proximity to the United States. Although the two countries might look very similar from the outside, but there are major differences between the life and culture of Canada and the United States. So I have a very special guest with me today. He is from the United States and he is going to tell us a little bit about how the life in the United States is, and we'll try to compare it with the life in Canada. So please welcome my guest today, Rajesh. So welcome Rajesh to Desi Chale Canada. Thanks for talking to us. Can you please tell us something about yourself and what do you do, where do you live?
Thanks, Vaibhav, for having me here. I'm actually from India, originally from a state called Jharkhand. For the last 12 years, I've been residing in the United States of America. I travel to Canada often more for business and also to meet some friends and family. And from profession, I'm actually an IT professional.
Okay, so you mentioned that you travel to Canada often. So do you have a fair idea about how life in Canada is? Because today we are going to talk to you more about how life in the US is, and then we'll also try to compare it with how life in Canada is. So I think you can help us in that comparison as well.
Absolutely. In fact, a little experience I had through my travel to Canada. It seems to be a pretty good place. From the culture perspective, I see a lot of similarities between the two countries. The people here are really warm. You go to the shopping centers and all the other experiences which I get in US is pretty much similar here. So overall, if you ask me, how does it feel coming here? I really don't see a difference. I think it's pretty much just an extension of United States. From a culture perspective, from an opportunity perspective, the weather is a little bit here and there, on the colder side, but it's not too bad. And overall, I feel that I feel very, very welcome every time I come to Canada.
That's great to know. So let's look back a little bit. You mentioned that you are from India. You've been living in the United States for about 12 years now. So what was the reason that you moved out of India a few years back?
So it was actually a job opportunity which first gave me an initial international experience coming to United States. As I said, I'm an IT professional. So I got an opportunity to come to United States as a part of my project, and then basically ever since I just continued to enjoy being there because of the good people I met. The overall atmosphere is very welcoming for skilled immigrants. I think I found some very good mentors. The work-life balance was pretty good. So overall, I felt like the quality of life and everything which I experienced for the last 12 years has been the prime reason why I decided to stay in America.
So when we talk about the life in the United States and life in Canada, what are some of the major differences between the two countries? It could be the kind of job opportunities, the culture, the general life, the tourism opportunities. What are the major differences that you see?
So, to be honest, while I have been to Canada multiple times, I haven't really explored full of Canada. But I think, as I mentioned earlier, my experience being every time I come to Canada has been really positive. Yes, America is a bigger job market. The world knows it. It's a very bigger economy. But I think Canada is actually not far behind. When I look at we are right now in Toronto area. There's a lot of good things happening here. It's one of the largest business centers for Canada. So as I said, culturally I feel it's actually pretty warm here. When I walk in the streets, I do see the same appreciation, a hi and a hello, which is very normal when I actually do the same in the United States. When I actually go for a morning jog, it's the same feeling. I think people are very appreciative here as well as in the United States. So I think if you really ask me a difference, probably the weather. US has a diverse climate because there are some parts of the US like Florida. If you can actually round the clock you can go and then just skip the winters. So I think it's a little bit of the additional attractions we have. Of course the bigger job market. But I think other than that I don't really feel that there is much of a difference. This is really a great place and my experience so far has been great.
Good to know that. So you mentioned that you are in IT field. There are a lot of people from India, especially in IT field, who are looking to move to Canada as well as the United States. So which of the two markets do you think is better for IT people?
So I think America definitely is a much bigger market when it comes to technology. But as I said, Canada is not way far behind. If you really think about the opportunities, we have a lot of growing economy here. For somebody who is really trying to migrate from India, honestly, I came here like 12 years back to United States. So I mean, if you really ask me right now, I think Canada, I see a lot of popularity. A lot of the folks basically are actually thinking about moving to Canada first versus United States, and most of the reason could be like I think the immigration system here is a little bit more relaxed, which offers you unique opportunities to be here and take permanent residency much sooner than United States, and everybody knows it. So I think from that perspective, probably this is a better option from a timeline and stability perspective versus United States. But if you really ask me, I think worldwide, I think United States is the biggest market for technology.
Yeah, obviously, I think we would all agree to that. So when we talk about quality of life, two things that come straight to our mind are the healthcare facilities in a country and also the schooling. So how would you rate the healthcare system of the United States? How good is the healthcare there? We've been giving a lot of information on Desi Chale Canada about the healthcare system here in Canada, but tell us a little bit about the United States.
So actually, U.S. healthcare is top notch. I mean, the quality of care which the government and the private healthcare companies strive for is world class. I mean, you get into a hospital there, you actually see that you are treated with a lot more respect, sense of urgency, and also there's a lot of empathy when somebody enters and is looking for some care. I believe it's the same in Canada. I've heard very good things about Canada as well. By God's grace, I haven't visited any of the hospitals here, but I think if you ask me one major difference, which I hear is actually one of the key telling points is, I think the government covers the healthcare here, which is a big deal. I think we tend to spend a lot of money just for ensuring ourselves, because that's the model how US operates. Again, there's nothing wrong in that, because that's how everything is working out there. But I think from a cost perspective, this is actually, you can't get better care if it is all sponsored by government the way you have in Canada, because I hear good things about the healthcare here as well.
Well, great to know that. So we really hope that you do not personally get to experience the healthcare system in Canada. How about the schooling?
So schooling is pretty similar. I think I have a little kid who goes in like grade 2. I think when I compare the systems, I think it's all public schools are all funded by the state. When it comes to the colleges, yes, you have a lot of Ivy League colleges which are worldwide known, like the Harvard, MIT, Stern, Columbia, Purdue. All these are like world-renowned universities in US. But if you really ask me, Canada, yeah, there's some solid like University of Toronto. There's one other I know in Montreal. I think you think about it. I think there is a good infrastructure overall in both these countries for somebody who is looking to move here. And it's important, right? I think knowledge is one of the most key things to look for when you move to any country, because for your kids it's important that they get a good infrastructure in the school, and then it should really be more worthwhile for them to basically be going to a good schooling system. So I think from a schooling perspective, I see a lot of synergies between both the countries, and it's quite frankly it's world class both places.
Okay, so one of the major reasons why people move to Canada is the permanent residence factor. How difficult is it in the United States to get a permanent residence, or the green card as they call it there? And based on that, what is your experience so far?
Canada offers a lot of exciting opportunities for immigrants to move here. I think getting a Canadian PR, which is equivalent to a green card, is much simpler. United States, there's a lot of good things happening to promote skilled immigration. But if you really ask me, I think green card does take a long time there. Again, I really don't know the details behind it, why, but I think overall it's much simpler to move here, and that's probably one of the reasons why Canada is becoming one of the top destinations for anybody who's looking to immigrate to a new country.
Yep, and now that we are talking about permanent residence, so in your experience, like it's not specific to Canada or the United States, what are the advantages of having a PR in a country versus, working on a work permit?
So the biggest thing is stability. I think permanent residency does give you a lot of options. Of course, if you're on a work visa, you got to basically deal with the uncertainty sometimes, like a job employment loss. I mean, there are some rules which basically allow you only to stay in the country for only a certain period of time, after which you have to leave the country. So I think that's actually a key difference, because why folks prefer to have a permanent residency. I mean, let's just take a simple scenario, like we talk about global economic slowdown happening potentially. When that happens, a lot of folks will basically lose jobs. I mean, if you have a permanent residency, I mean, you can basically just open up anything of your own if you have some cash in hand, or even if you don't have cash in hand, there are options to make like a daily living. Like you can drive an Uber, Lyft, do something, right? I mean, I think if you are on a work visa, I think those are the limitations, that you got to find a job, and if the economy is going through a crisis, not always that's a favorable situation. So yes, permanent residency does help because you actually can be of an entrepreneurial mindset as well, and you can just open something of your own. So I guess that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference, and that's a very important factor as well. So now you travel to Canada often, at different times of the year. Mm-hmm. So one thing that you must have experienced thoroughly is the Canadian weather, which is a big factor for some people. Now, what would you say is the major difference between Canada and the United States when it comes to weather, and is it a big factor for you?
Not really. I mean, for somebody who's been in the country, United States, for almost like 10 plus years, I think I find it really fine. I mean, honestly, look at where we are right now. It's a beautiful stretch, Lake Ontario, in the city of Mississauga, or Oakville to be specific. Far down, I think I see the Toronto downtown. It's an excellent location, and it's like late November, and it's not like you're shivering. I think there's a little bit of chill, but I think that's very normal. It's the same as what you see in United States. As I said earlier, I think there are some places in the US which get very cold as well. I'm sure there are some places here which get very cold. Generally, it's a known fact that the weather here is a little bit colder, but it's not something which is like not. I mean, it's not something which will be like a deal breaker for anybody. I think it's actually pretty nice. I see the fall colors in some of the trees around. It's very normal as what I see in the US, because I think I see 4 seasons where I live, and when I look around just and see the nice little park there where kids are playing, the trees, the winter trees are having the greenery, the fall colors, some of the leaves have fallen down. So it's pretty comparable. I know, yes, there's a little bit of the cold, but not that bad, considering that right now we are almost like end of November.
I honestly feel very good to know that. Thank you. So my last question is, and which is the big question, given a chance, would you like to move to Canada?
You're asking somebody who's already in love with the life I'm having in the US. I think given a chance, probably I don't mind having a house here, vacation home, but I think I enjoy where I live right now, but maybe I don't think I have a firm yes, because as I said, I have lived there for quite some time. I have made good friends, good mentors. There's a good social life I'm having with my family there. And more often, a place is all about not the place itself, but it's more about the social circle and the friends you have, the people with whom you hang out with, because that's make the biggest difference. And from that perspective is the only factor I will say that I would prefer to continue where I am, because I think I find it is much more welcoming, because of some of the factors I just mentioned.
Well, we wish you all the best for your future and with your life in the United States, and we hope to see you sometime again when you perhaps do decide to move to Canada.
Yeah, so thank you. And I think I just watched a couple of your videos. I'll tell you, you're doing an awesome job here. It's the world of data these days. You just go to the internet and you basically try to Google something. You get so much information that you're lost in an ocean. I think through your channel you are providing some really meaningful insights by collecting what is most important for anybody who is trying to move to Canada. I think that's really amazing, and I wish you all the best. May you continue to enlighten everybody with some of the here and there questions everybody faces when moving to Canada, and I wish you all the best for future.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Rajesh.
Thank you.
So this was a video about life in Canada versus the life in the United States. If you like this video, then please press the like and share button. For more information on Canadian immigration and life in Canada, please subscribe to Desi Chale Canada's YouTube channel. And until next time, stay tuned.